This is future Too Bright Eric Taylor.
And I am the blonde blur Mikey Montgomery. We are the bullish trend, the Bitcoin boys.
That's one word with an I and a capital Z at the end, and you are listening to Wrestling Cheers.
Taking your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
And welcome back to Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when you're Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters. This is Wrestling Cheers. We'd like to talk about things going on in Northeast Ohio independent wrestling scene. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. This is a review of last week's show from AIW 3D. I'm your host, Justin Summers, and Wrestling Cheers is brought to you by Midwest Territory. Please rate, review, and subscribe your Everlist as fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose, as our WrestlingCheers@gmail.com. Like I said, this is a review of AIW's AIW 3D. Already introduced myself and just got Charlie this week.
Just me.
Just you. So this show wasn't exactly what we previewed.
No, it changed a little bit from what we previewed, but I mean, the general structure was still there, and we got a lot out of it for Absolution, so overall it was worthwhile.
So 2 matches weren't announced yet, and one match that we previewed didn't happen at all. Both competitors weren't cleared, and a complete replacement match was put in, so that just threw everything off. Nonetheless, still a pretty stacked show. How did it come off on IWTV?
The first half was very quick. Everybody was like really happy about that, I remember. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to take like a 35-minute break for the intermission. So then it was kind of waiting around for that to come back on. And then you had like all the more heavy featured matches in the second half that were all a lot longer. So then it kind of made its way to the 10 o'clock mark. So
yeah, looking up at Cage Match, the longest match in the first half was the first match.
Yeah.
Other than that, like two of the shortest matches were also in the first half, which combined total runtime is under 2.5 minutes. Yeah. I like shows that kind of can run that quick. I don't think anything was too long. And it was almost set up to the point of literally the 2 longest matches on the card are the last 2 matches. And rightfully so. Like, if those are short matches, it feels horrible unless there's like a reason for it being short. And if like some of the matches previous to it are some of the longer, if not longest matches, then it feels off balance. So yeah, I think if you kind of look at a lot of matches in AIW, that the main events normally do go on the longest. I mean, with Gauntlet for the Gold 15 and Cybernetico de Mayo being back to back, like those are 2 very long main events in themselves, but nonetheless, like it's almost always the longest match on the card, and yeah, rightfully so. I know there, like in the venue, it was a little hot. Like I came from work, and the only thing I changed was my shirt. So like I wear jeans at work, so I was wearing jeans here, and it felt pretty hot.
Well, they probably cranked the heat so that you felt like you were at the beach. So you had the beach balls, you had the 3D glasses. They had to crank the heat to make you feel like you were at the beach. I'm sure there was like a pool set up somewhere for Sharkboy to be like swimming in, like he used to do with those New Jack promos. They have floaties on and stuff. It's great stuff.
I know with that intermission being so long, like I had to go outside. Like I normally don't do that for intermission, but this one I felt like I had to. Like, I wanted to take some stuff out to my car, and I had to totally forgot to grab my power bank that I brought with me, and my phone was getting really low on battery, so I had to like make sure I grabbed that. But yeah, like I stayed outside just a little bit longer just because of how hot it felt on the inside, and it's kind of beneficial that we're not going back until October. So like the weather's going to be typically a little bit cooler, especially too. Isn't it like, I think it's late October.
I think mid-October, because there's so much in August. Like that show in September, that's it. And then it's like October 1st is in Akron again. And then there's like nothing until mid-November again or something. That's pretty late going into the fall season, which is fine with me.
I mean, if I'm correct, I don't even think that show, the October show, is on the original AIW calendar that was released. Oh, no, it was. It's the end of October.
Is there another at the end of October, too?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was at the end. The 27th.
Isn't there one in September?
Oh, shit. Yeah, there is one in September.
I was going to say, that's like literally the only thing in September. So I was like, I get September off because I can't go to Thursday shows. So,
okay, same premise. Mid-September.
Starting to cool down. Should be all right.
Starting to cool down. You might get some hotter days, but it'll be a little more pleasant. At least we're not going in there in like the middle of August.
If you work at the Winchester, Summer says crank that heat for him anytime there's an AIW show. Got to be hot in there.
I hope you drink no water at the Bill Alfonso tournament.
What does that mean?
Because I can't say that the heat will be cranked up more at that show.
Yeah, it's probably going to be hot. Anything outdoors I got to watch. Like there's potential to get too overheated. So
I've done a few outdoor things this year, and I've not put on sunscreen, and I have yet to burn. like the annoying stinging burn. Like it's just like regular parts of my body that normally, like, because I'm now out at work a lot more, that like my arms and my neck and my face, like they'll burn a little, but like it's not one of those things that they sting for the next day or week or something.
Oh, I got the sting and peel burn waiting in line for Gargano. So that all that time I spent outside talking to you and waiting in line, got me pretty good. So I had sting and peel on my neck for like the week after. Fun times.
Yep, none for me. And I did the LVAC shows, pretty much living outside. I did a festival in Kent where I was, outside the whole day. Nothing. I'm bragging about this, but then I'm going to get fucked. Like at one of these outdoor shows. Wood,
man, it's going to get you.
Well, probably the Bill Alfonso tournament and Rager, more Alfonso tournament, I might throw on sunscreen. Because that's like, that's going to be some direct sunlight.
Yeah, I remember getting burnt at Rager. Not the last one, but the one before. Rager 4. I got burnt on the top of my head.
That's why I wear a hat.
And my neck, I think. Because of the sun. So where we were standing. So.
All right, let's get into this card, this show. And we started off with one of the matches we didn't get a preview. Starting things off with 9 to 5 coming out first two versus the Heritage, formerly known as the Von Englands. I've kind of been told why they changed it. I don't know if I should publicly announce it. I'll just throw this out there. Maybe not AIW, just anywhere. If they wanted to have somebody join their group, they would need a different moniker because X third person can't be fucking a Von England. So, I mean, together, Sid and Eden are the Von Englands, but they're sticking with the Heritage. So I wasn't necessarily told anywhere that that's going to happen, but that just makes it easier just in case that comes down the line.
Makes sense.
From what I've seen of the Von Englands, I'm a fan. And it's something like...
We know Summers. We know.
Well, no, I'm gonna say this, that it's something that if you're anybody like this that I'm about to say, I give you appreciation because there's somebody else that I've mentioned this for. They have so much like different gear to where, for me, it stands out. The person that I kind of compare them to someone else who happens to have a lot of different gear. And what she likes to do is also like do a lot different things with her hair, color, length, whatever. And that's Ziggy. Like you could take 5 different pictures of Ziggy at 5 different shows, and odds are like they're completely different looks. I feel the same way with the Von Englands. So it's that one small thing that I'd kind of noticed, like this was new gear. Does help that Sid makes gear, but I like that. And in conversation that I had with them at intermission is like they can go to a lot of these other places, OCW and whatever, and they can definitely do this like we're from England thing. It's not like it's a shtick. They're actually from there, but that doesn't work in AIW. Can't necessarily come and be like, I'm from England and have us like hate you for that. So I like that.
I don't know. We got a pretty patriotic crowd at the Winchester, the last show that they were on. There was USA chants, the whole 9. I think it was against
bulking
season. Yeah. So
I think it's because it was against bulking season. And if they're going to make to be look like faces, you put them against 9 to 5, because who the fuck is rooting for 9 to 5?
I don't know, man. You seem like you're a fan of 9 to 5, so you could be rooting for both of these teams. Since when? What do I say? That's pro 9 to 5. That you really want them to bring out donuts. You think that's really great for them to bring donuts. You want them to do things.
I wanted Matt Hackle to bring donuts to tailgate that we did years ago, but didn't necessarily like him. Man, that's a reference that's going to go over a lot of people's heads. Who the fuck is Matt Hackle?
It's a throwback.
But anyway, like I said, we did not get to preview this match, but I did enjoy it. Any thoughts you have on the match?
I thought it was fine. The one thing that stood out to me was that Brian Carson used correct pronouns for Eden, so that was surprising to me, but I did catch that on commentary.
That's very good for him. I know that's something that I struggle with. Not like I do it on purpose. It's just thinking. I know a lot of stuff about Carson.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised.
Yeah, that's why.
Like, oh, really? Okay, all right.
That's why I said good for him. It wasn't like patronizing. Like, oh, good for him. It was like, oh, good for him. Cool. Maybe.
I mean,
maybe Carson is afraid of Eden.
I was surprised. So yeah, I mean, should be some respect there. So, all right. I say this a lot, but I'd like to see more from the Von Englands and AIW, especially Sid. Being able to see Sid other places wrestle, like, he's good. He can do a serious style, but he can also do comedy. And I feel like he got to show a little bit more of himself during this match. This was, like I said, in my opinion, good place to start for the show. It was Lewis Linden making Sid tap to pick up the win for 9 to 5. Let's move on to the next one. This is a fun one. This match was not very long, and also to go with that, I don't like it when people get unannounced for shows and I don't exactly know their Twitter handle, because I'm sitting there when I do my live tweet shit. I have to be like, well, fuck, what's your Twitter handle? Like, who are you? Luckily, this time I was sitting close to Caden, which was like first time in a long time. And I asked him, he didn't technically know it off of his head. And I was like, fuck. So I was trying to like search it. I did end up finding it later, but it was Anthony Young versus Isaiah Broner. Literally for most of this match, which wasn't very long, I was sitting there trying to find his fucking Twitter handle. And by the time I'm particular on that sometimes. But by the time I finally got the tweet out, like the match actually ended like seconds later. So like if you were just following just on Twitter, not reading everybody else's tweets and everything, but just like the Wrestling Cheers Twitter, this match was like 15 seconds long, if that. Actually, it was a minute and 27 seconds according to Cage Match. Any thoughts on this extremely short match? Not even the shortest match on the card. I laughed really hard when he started giving him chest compressions after he was pinned. That was really funny.
I like Anthony Young, just from the very little bit that we've seen. Yeah, Broner killed it quite literally. I would like to. I'm gonna have to do this between now and Absolution. I might go through all of Broner's matches here in Cage Match that are AIW and write down the lengths. Now, the multi-man matches will be longer, so I'm not going to include them. I want to count one-on-one matches, and I think they're all fairly short. I'm curious what the longest one is.
It's got to be either him and Suzuki or him and
Suzuki will be long. Kingston,
his other match with Manders was pretty long. I mean, it'd be one of the main show, like his main bigger matches would definitely be one of them, but they were all very, very good.
Yeah, Manders was longer. What's sad is not every match has like a length on it. Granted, like literally the last match that wasn't live on IWTV, do you know what it was? And it makes sense.
Was it? I don't remember. I thought it'd be an Akron show, but
no. Well, that was. If Gauntlet didn't go on live, Rager last year. So that makes sense, which means Rager probably won't be live either this year, I'm guessing. Like
it's not on the schedule.
Yeah,
but all 3 days, all 3 shows for J-Lit are.
Oh, that won't be on IWTV, and neither will the Bill Alfonso tournament. I'm guessing because also, Nightmare on North Elm Street last year, because I'm looking at, like, set Cage Match. Like, the shows that weren't on IWTV were that show, the Geek Fest show. Obviously,
I was so confused. I thought you were talking about a Broner match that wasn't on, that wasn't televised live. And I'm like,
no. I was talking about just AIW shows.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because I was trying to think really hard. I'm like, he wasn't on that fucking card.
Oh no, there was
Rager 5.
There was a Broner match that wasn't on IWTV, and that was against the Weirdster at Hell on Earth pre-show match.
Yeah, that was pre-show. Yeah.
I might have trailed off in 2 different questions because, like, I was going to say, like there's no time length for that. But looking at stuff that's
Jayhawk was there. There's a time length if you want it.
I mean the on Cage Match, but anyway.
Hey, he was the Wrestling Cheers official timekeeper, so I think it should count.
Well, he didn't send the results into us like he did for.
I'm sure if you asked him, he will send you the results for that match. I'm sure he could do that. He's got his notebook somewhere with that match in it.
Anyway, the shows that weren't on IWTV last year were Nightmare on North Elm Street, the 4 North Canton shows, the Main Street Festival shows, not like they were just separate big shows, so obviously those don't make it on IWTV, and then Rager. Other than that, like, AW's been pretty consistent on being, like, streaming live, and even before going all that, the last non-stream AIW show, Hey Yo.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of the shows like in 2018, 2019 where they were going back and forth from non-streaming and Fight. Because like Jayla,
because they were on certain shows with other companies that
like Slumber Party Massacre was on there. Obviously J-Lit Weekend was on Fight. Bobblehead Night was on Fight. Bad Boy for Life was on Fight. AIW It's Too Cold Outside. And then obviously the 2 Indianapolis shows were on Fight, and then since then it's been mostly just streaming on IWTV, which is great. But we will have some interruptions. Does that mean Absolution's going to stream live now?
Yeah, it's listed as live.
Okay, not that it wasn't, but like what they were saying with Tadmore now with fucking the Gauntlet for the Gold, they've kind of proved that they could stream there, even though they streamed there last year too.
Yeah, they keep forgetting, like, or they had trouble, like, getting the Wi-Fi to work one time, and then they're like, oh, we can't do it. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we can. It's just...
I mean, it's better than...
Depending on who shows up and if they want to do it is what it is. Robles makes it happen, so...
It's better than... do you remember the Absolution that they streamed live? The first one that they tried to stream live? I don't know if it was the first thing they streamed live. I want to say it was the second. It's either Absolution 7 or Absolution 8. And like streaming at that time, like the early 2010s, bad idea. I don't remember if they were on Go5 Live or where they were at. I just remember the Absolution one, like the temperature being so hot in Turner's Hall, like they were having trouble streaming.
Yeah, Turner's was super hot and super cold and just terrible all around.
Whatever the temperature was, whatever the temperature was outside, it was more in that direction. If it was hot, it was hot. It was really hot in there. If it was cold outside, it was really cold out inside. Anyway, we've spent more time talking about this fucking match than
more.
Yeah. Broner pinned Anthony Young for the win and then tried to revive him. Let's move on to the next one. Philly Collins versus Arthur Macarthur. If I'm correct, this was the first match featuring Aaron Bauer on commentary.
Yeah, I believe so.
Was this as bad as some people make it out to be?
He just didn't know anybody. Like, he hasn't been around, so like he played like the dummy that had no idea. Like, he remembered names, but like had no idea what was going on for the most part. Like, it was his first time doing commentary ever for AIW. So like, had zero clue on the product, which is fine. It's whatever. Like, he still just kind of did his thing, and you know, Wadsworth handled it perfectly. Wadsworth took over and just directed everything kind of well. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was super terrible or anything, but it didn't distract from the matches. Everything kind of flowed fine. I didn't really notice anything glaring that made me go, oh, I need to turn this off or anything. So that's fine.
Thoughts on Arthur versus Philly?
I told you they were going to come for blood. Like, this was very much not the fun-loving Arthur MacArthur. He came for blood, and he did his thing, and well, you know, he got himself caught up. But you know, they definitely proved that they're not here to play games right now. They want blood. They want to beat the shit out of Philly and Marina. So, I
mean, we're getting blood at Absolution, right?
Probably. In at least a couple matches, main event.
Well, I meant this match. Like, between these two, like, there's definitely going to be blood. Like, if we didn't get it here, as in these two teams, but if we didn't get it here, we're going to get it at Absolution.
There's definitely potential there. I think they always kind of deliver where they need to. So,
honestly, I don't have a lot to say about this match, except for, like, it does get me excited for the Absolution match. And same thing with later on with Eric and Chuck.
Yeah, it did its job. It got us, like I said, it got us, a lot of this stuff got us salivating for Absolution. That's what I figured it would do. And they did a great job of getting everybody pumped for that. So
to see where bulking season have come in the last like 2.5 years, like a little bit pre-pandemic to now, it's a big difference. And I love that they're in the spot that they are for Absolution. If you got nothing else, it was Philly pinning Arthur by holding the ropes for the win. I knew there was going to be a win between these two matches where someone was going to squeak it out.
Yeah, that made sense. Like, it kind of, you know, you figure there'd be a cheap win in there somewhere. So,
now that I'm looking at the picture of after the match, do we want to talk about the referee that had like the 3D glasses on for the first fucking half? I don't know if he took them off in the second half or later on in the second half. I did notice on one, but I'm like, oh, he doesn't have them on. But he had
Arthur told everybody to put them on at one point when he like knocked Philly into the crowd.
Yeah, I do think he did. I wanted to wear mine, but those are like some really cheap 3D glasses. Like, I'm not complaining about the quality, but like, I got a big head, and those seem to be meant for people that don't have as big as head as me, and then like they just wouldn't stay on like that long. Like, if I moved, they would come off. They'd fall. So yeah.
That's a fun gimmick. That's all it was.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not complaining about it. I thought it was pretty funny. All right, let's move on to the next one. Another short one. The Weirdster versus Pretty Boy Smooth. Officially the shortest match on the card at 41 seconds. Thoughts on PB beating the shit out of Weirdster?
So I have a notebook full of thoughts on this. It's going to take me about 45 minutes to get through, so let's get started.
A second by second breakdown?
Yeah.
Reviewing the film one frame at a time?
Yes. So, you know, we got the Weirdster starting off in the weird ball.
Which,
and then,
very, very smart of him, though, because, like, that's, like, his biggest defense. Being able to, like, get himself in that and be like, you can't get me out of it. Unfortunately, if I'm correct, PB has a little bit of history with the Weirdster, so this wasn't a first for him. So he was able to obviously get him out of it. You have more notes?
No, I was.
I mean, it's what I expected. The only way I thought Weirdster would have won is if Broner came out here, and he didn't.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Him coming out and causing PB the match. That'd have been fucking funny. Because everybody's just like, oh, PB's gonna fucking smash him, and then fucking if PB would have lost to Weirdster. Holy shit, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, that'd have been great, but like we'll get to later what happened, and I'm a fan of kind of where they went there. Yeah, it was PB pinning Weirdster, also kind of like posing over the body during the pin. Let's move on to the next one. Riley Rose, who needs to go back to his old theme, or his short-lived March theme, versus Big Twan Tucker versus TKD versus Sharkboy. Personally,
Sharkboy hit a stunner on Riley Rose, so
I was gonna say personally,
watch out for it, and he still got bit.
I enjoy this intensity from Big Twan. It's like a part of him that we've always seen, but mostly out of the ring, and now we're seeing just a little bit more now that he's come back.
I know you want to focus on Big Twan as he was your pick to win, but can we talk about Sharkboy eating ass?
Sure, go ahead, talk about it.
Yeah, he got up in there and he ate some booty in front of everybody. How was that experience for you, being there live, seeing Sharkboy eat ass live? I'm
not gonna go into it per se, but it made me laugh at ringside with Michael Porter because of an old AIW joke we have. Something that he might have yelled at the Duke at one point.
Like, there's no king shaming here. Like, if you were turned on by it, it's fine. You could tell the audience. Nobody here will kink shame. I don't kink shame, especially when it was Michael Porter, fucking 20. God, I want to say 18, maybe 2019. Yells at the Duke, "Hey Duke, let me eat that ass." The look the Duke gave him was like in complete shock, and he was just lost for words, had nothing to say. It was something that was like after the match. Actually, I might be able to pull it up. I know exactly when it was. It was at the first Akron show with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So it was 2018. Fuck, long time ago. Enter the Dragon. Where was the Duke on that card? Oh, he had the interaction with Steamboat. Damn, looking at that card, that's a different AIW. So yeah, like me and Porter will always like joke about that. So seeing like Sharkboy do that, it was like, yeah, Duke next. Anyway, anything else from your notes? Nope. No, I mean, this was kind of surprising. I didn't think Twan would win, but he got the win. I was very, very shocked.
Did I pick Twan?
You did.
Because I'm a very smart man.
I believe the correct word is goofy, is what he calls you.
That is my favorite original Disney character. I love Goofy. But I'll say this. I don't know how often we're going to see him, but TKD really is coming into his own more and more. I do like that he's gone away from the Taekwondo style of it. Like, he can still do some of that stuff, but really accepting the gay con or the gay icon, whatever it exactly is. It seems to me has a better presentation. Do you got any thoughts on that?
TKD's TKD. I don't know. I haven't seen any, to me, I haven't seen anything super improvement other than I like that he has completely got away, not completely, but he's gotten far enough away from the Kwando thing. I like that he's the gay con now and he's, doing his own thing. I think that's a lot better than being a Kwando person. So
it was Twan pinning TKD for the win. But after the match, Big Twan called out Matt Justice for an Absolution match. So this is the first of a few matches that were confirmed or announced at this show. Going into this, we had Derek versus Bishop for the Absolute and Intense Championship. Bulking Season versus PME for the Tag Team Championship. And Kaplan versus Donst. At the end of
we had some hints at some other stuff, but we didn't have anything official until this show. So.
Yeah, after this, we got, or we should say, by the end of the show, we have 9 matches for Absolution, which I'm guessing is the whole card.
Pretty close.
And I will say, there was like somebody around me in the crowd that thought Twan was going to call out Broner.
Yeah, I kept hearing that on the audio, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
Broner beat him in his first like big match, like at the Winchester. He put Twan down, so I mean, I guess that would make sense, but nah. I
mean, there could be another. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch of that down the road.
Yeah, for sure, but I don't think
that's not Absolution. Not to mention, we could see where it was going with Broner,
right?
Which we will get to later, but.
Right.
Justice versus Twan is going to be interesting. I want to. Are we going to see a more hardcore side of Twan? Is he going to fucking go against Justice?
He's going to have to if he's going to want to win. So, but that's for another preview in another week or two.
That'd be next week.
Yeah, next week.
All right. After that, we went to intermission. Yep, and we came back from intermission with this. Bitcoin Boys versus Members Only versus To Infinity and Beyond. To Infinity and Beyond. Also another replacement. No Members Only. Not no Members Only, but no Bang Bros.
How do you spell Bitcoin Boys?
Bitcoin Boys. It's all one word. BITCIONBOI capital Z. I mean, Eric Taylor made a big deal about it, but this is the funny thing. On Cage Match, it's spelled right. But if you go to their last tag match and everything before it, it's the Bitcoin Boys.
I mean, maybe they got the official what the hell is it called?
Trademark?
Trademark, yeah. Maybe they got the official trademark for it, so now they can officially it's officially this version that they were able to trademark.
I mean, that's been the right way to spell it from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it has absolutely as far as the IZ on the end of boys, but the two word, one word kind of thing kind of throws it. But
yeah, it's always been all one word, Bitcoin Boys. Anyway, like I said, no Bang Bros, but we get To Infinity and Beyond.
Hell of a replacement for Bang Bros. The premier tag team of AIW. The guys have done more than any other tag team in AIW.
Do you realize
5 times over?
Do you realize that in this match alone, there were 5 AIW tag team title reigns?
By one fucking team.
Yes. That's the point of the joke.
Yes.
I mean, this is kind of what I expected with Bitcoin.
Yeah, Eric Taylor came out with the squirt gun, was squirting people, and let me tell you that Michelle looked so disgusted by this because I think she got sprayed. I was laughing. I wanted to tweet her and be like, "You look so disgusted at him spraying people in the crowd." And then I heard like Pam ended up with a squirt gun from this, and it was wild brawl. Which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting more Flippy Boy stuff, but hey, I'll take it. There was a lot of great action in this match, and this is a really fun way to come back from intermission.
Pam did tweet this out, but I also thought about it too, and the fact that her and I, who weren't sitting close to each other, like we were sitting on opposite sides of the room, the fact that, you know, the Bitcoin Boys went from those hairspray bottles, which they have not had since early 2020, because I don't remember if they had them in Indianapolis. And I know they didn't have them when we came back at the Odeon. And ever since then, they haven't had it. But we go from those to squirt guns. And it seemed like a funny progression type thing. Like, I know my wording was different from Pam's, but like we had the same idea, like, oh, they used to do this, but in a different fashion. I mean, not to like skip over the whole match, but a point that I want to bring out later on when Colin got on the mic. And it's so true. It's just, AIW has this fucking stacked tag division. And I think if you are invested in this company, like I can't speak for anybody who's never watched it and they have to like sit down and watch it, but every tag team means something.
If you're invested in this company, please buy my AIW coin that I have started.
We already have Bacon's Bucks.
Well, I'm starting AIW coin. How many AIW coins do you think you can get for one Biggins buck?
How many coins does it take to get a buck? Shouldn't the buck be bigger?
Well, because it's just starting, it's 0.000002 of an actual Biggins buck. So you got to spend lots of money on AIW coin to get to one Biggins buck.
Yeah.
But lots of Biggins bucks will buy you lots of AIW coins. So
is this going to be your new bit?
No. It's ran its course. I literally was just, playing around.
But yeah, this fucking tag division is awesome. And especially when you do have these two young tag teams of Bitcoin Boys and members only.
Yeah, this tag division is super dope. If you like tag wrestling, this is the company for you. You get a lot of it. There's lots of great teams. Like TME isn't even on the card, but like they're a part of this. Like there's so many great teams. It's so fun.
And there's probably a few that we're not even thinking of. And potentially we might have more with when the new students debut.
Yeah. That's just a short couple shows away, man. Fresh meat.
Any thoughts on this match?
I was just, like I said, it was a great way to come back from intermission. It was a lot of fun. It kind of got me back into the show after waiting for the extended intermission. So I was very back into the show at this point. The rest of the show led the way through. It was pretty good. So
This match went the way that I thought it would have, especially with To Infinity and Beyond in the match. I'm curious of how it would have went with Bang Bros in there, because obviously To Infinity and Beyond's not winning that match unless, no, I'm kidding. But you have 5-time AIW champions, tag team champions, going up against two young teams. It's going to make sense that this polished tag team, even at that, who have been with each other for longer than both of these teams have wrestled, maybe even like combined. I'd have to like do the math. That they were ready for this. So yeah, it was Colin pinning Calvin G. Lewis to pick up the win for To Infinity and Beyond. And then it was
just like them. They're not announced for the show. Well, they were. I guess they technically were announced for the show. I just missed the tweet. But like watching at home, I had no idea they were on the card until they came out. So like that happening, and I was like, oh, of course they're gonna win.
To Infinity and Beyond wins. LOL.
Yep.
But a match was thrown down by Colin. Yes. Afterwards. He did put over both tag teams, and he put over the division, and he said, like, let's run it back one more time, but with another team. So at Absolution 15, we will see To Infinity and Beyond versus Members Only versus Bitcoin Boys versus former AIW tag team champions, the Jollyville Fuckets.
Yes.
So this is where I hope Calvin G. Lewis gets pounced by his dad.
I mean, they did have the interaction, so a little bit at Gauntlet. So I was very excited about that.
So was I. It was because the only thing I don't say I hate about it when it tag teams, but when members only music hit, I was like, okay, which one is this? Because I'm gonna have two completely different reactions, and it's just, well, one's gonna be a little bit more extreme because I want to see fucking Calvin G. Lewis and T-Money. So this is going to be a pretty fun match. Like, of all the matches that we have announced with no title on the line, like, this is really interesting. This is also the second match to be announced for Absolution, for on this card, that is. All right, let's move on to the next one. Marino Tenaglia versus Chuck Stone. Man, fuck. No offense to Arthur. Fucking Chuck Stone is a star. I fucking love him.
Yeah, he is.
Like, and I know I've said it before, but he brings the presence of Earthquake, and whatever version of Fred Ottman you want to use. Typhoon, Tugboat, Shockmaster. But like, he brings it, and I fucking love it. And the thing,
it's like the Shockmaster when he like just falls out stuff. Is that what you're talking about? That's pretty fucked up. Yeah, I haven't seen him do that. I mean, I saw him with the cowboy hat and Kid Rock music, which was wild. But like powerbomb slam he did to Marina on the fucking apron. Ugh.
We should get a Stormtrooper helmet for him.
Oh shit!
And
Chuckstone, let us know if you want a Stormtrooper helmet that's glittery. We'll make it happen.
Just for a one-off, that'd be hilarious.
Gotta put the Wrestling Cheers logo on it though, so it can be a little trophy after.
A thing that I loved about this match compared to Arthur and Philly, like this was a little bit more intense, and it was just both of them really trying to win. Granted, I know you get that with in the other match too, but it was just in a sense watching them try to outdo each other. And I was actually surprised that Philly didn't try to interfere, because I did notice that he came out for commentary, because I was right on the corner of the guardrail where I could just look over and see commentary.
Yeah, I will admit Marina looked kind of cool. That's I'll admit that he looked like a cool dude, but I still wanted him to get beat up by Chuck Stone. So
I think PME has really come into their own on being heels.
Yeah, they figured it out. It took some time. It took a couple shows, but they figured it out. They did the music change, and then it just kind of flowed easily from there. So
I think the only thing that like halfway screws it up is the association with Cardona, because like in a way it made sense and it worked, but it also, I don't know, it didn't seem to stick, and they felt like outcast compared to everybody that comes in with Cardona. Any thoughts?
I think it's okay.
Yeah. Any thoughts on the match?
Yeah, that /slam on the apron, like I said before, was fucking gross.
Yeah, my fucking jaw dropped. Like when Caden has his reaction where he like stands straight up, like I was doing the same thing but just sitting down, and just my jaw dropped. Like, oh fuck. Did he kill him? Obviously he seemed to be alright, but still it was like, oh shit. This match went a little over 9 minutes, 9 minutes and 21 seconds. Chuck Stone beating Marina via referee stoppage. Let's move on to not the next match, but the next segment of the show. Basically, you got Jocelyn comes out. She has kind of like some words she wants to say. She ends up getting into the camera and calling out Katie Arquette. So we're not done with that. It's going to be 2 out of 3 falls at Absolution. If you want the video, besides going on to, not Smart Mark Video, but IWTV and watching it, I do have a pretty good clip because it was literally right in front of me on the show. It's only like a little over a minute. Then afterwards, Jocelyn's like going to leave. Pretty Boy Smooth comes out. I think he came through the crowd. And he's like trying to like, shake hands with Jocelyn or whatever, and kind of like, hey, we used to be cool and all this shit. And when Jocelyn fucking, tries to walk away, Smooth fucking knocks her out. Then you get Isaiah Broner coming out to check on Jocelyn, and in Broner fashion, he grabs the mic and says, "Absolution, bitch." So this is the first time on camera in AIW we are acknowledging that Broner and Jocelyn are in a relationship.
Which, if you follow either of them on Twitter, you would know. So
Twitter, Instagram, whatever. But it's one of those things that, suspending our disbelief and all this kind of stuff,
Right, they're doing their own thing in the company, so it's like they're not.
Yeah, like they were never crossing paths, but now you have a story to be told of, we used to have 40 acres. And
remember when you wanted Broner and 40 acres?
Yes, I really did want Broner and 40 acres, but they decided to end it. But you had 40 acres going, and, really the last 2 members were Jocelyn and Smooth. They kind of went their separate ways. And then you had Broner a debut like shortly after. And granted, they were never shown like together, on the show. But it's one thing like, we knew. So I kind of think that there's a way they could go with that, with a storyline with this. But I think it's definitely going to be more like, look at all the opportunities Broner has gotten in AIW. And here's Pretty Boy Smooth, who's a former tag team champion, a former Absolute champion, and is getting unannounced matches, and he's getting like scrambles. Like, he wants some fucking respect. So that confirms in this segment 2 matches.
Yes.
For Absolution. Broner versus Smooth, and Jocelyn versus Katie Arquette. 2 out of 3 falls. Let's move on to the next one. Jackson Stone versus Dominik Guerini. I'm hoping that after all of this, like, we still see Jackson Stone in AIW. I think he does fit, and Thorne even thinks that he's gotten a lot better over the past handful of years, and I would agree. Thoughts?
Yeah, I really like their series of matches they had. This one was fucking excellent. I really enjoyed this one. Dom really made Jackson Stone look like $1 million, and it was good stuff.
Yeah, I like where we're going here, kind of with this story in this group, but we are going to get some sort of conclusion potentially at Absolution with
something out of it. Not what either of us wanted, but
yeah. It was Dominik Guerini pinning Jackson Stone for the win. I think kind of what I thought. I don't remember. Don't know if I picked Jackson Stone, because I just more or less thought this match was going to end with Dom on the mic saying the match for Absolution. So I was right there, but we were both wrong on what. You had it right that it was going to be a singles match, but not the kind of match that you thought.
Yeah.
We will see Dominik Guerini versus Casey Carrington IV at Absolution in a dog collar match.
So I wonder what the other stipulations were, because Dom kind of hinted that there were stipulations in this match with Jackson Stone that led to implications with Absolution, one of them being the dog collar match with himself and Casey. Did that also mean that Jackson Stone and Brian Carson are banned from ringside for that? Hopefully we'll find out about that, because, if they're not, then we've seen where it's gone before. Like, this isn't going to conclude with that then. So,
yeah, that's true. Unless there is some sort of insurance policy from Dom that makes sure that Casey and Jackson Stone don't interfere, or not Casey, but Carson and Jackson Stone don't interfere. So I'm not sure. All right. After that, we got into the main event. Derek Dillinger and the Duke versus Wes Barkley and Joshua Bishop. Obviously, with Derek and the Duke, Ziggy was ringside.
Yes. And she did interfere throughout the match.
Oh, yeah. Any thoughts on this match as a whole?
It was another one that kind of like they brawled into the crowd and stuff again, which kind of figured was going to happen. So it was kind of, a little bit, not so much a repeat of the 3-way tag match, but like, they did some crowd brawling and stuff like that. They did, bring some stuff together for the finals, towards the final end with everything. And then, Duke, surprisingly, getting the win instead of either of the, Josh Bishop or Derek Dillinger, which I kind of figured might happen. They might give it to the other two to kind of figure out, and not the two guys that are going to face off at Absolution in the main event for the belts. But
we're definitely saving that match. Like, we got a little bit of it, but you want to save a bulk of that for
absolutely
Absolution.
Right. So we got that little preview. We got a little preview of some other stuff that we'll talk about here in a minute. But it was just what I kind of figured for them. So
yeah, the Duke pinned Wes for the win, which does set up into another match, because Wes ended up grabbing the mic and says he wants a one-on-one match with the Duke at Absolution.
And if you listen to last week's show, you know that I kind of talked about that being a possibility. So very proud of myself for that one. That's one of the rare times I'll get something right.
I'm happy you got something right on the show.
Thank you.
Good boy. So
finally, it only took me how long?
So with that, like I said, we have 9 matches for Absolution. We got Big Twan versus Matt Justice, The Duke versus Wes Barkley, Dominik Guerini versus Casey Carrington in a dog collar match, Kaplan versus Donst, Jocelyn Navarro versus Katie Arquette in a 2 out of 3 falls match, Isaiah Broner versus Pretty Boy Smooth, tag 4-way match with Bitcoin Boys, members only, To Infinity and Beyond and the Jollyville Fuckets, Bulking Season versus PME for the AIW tag team titles, and Derek Dillinger versus Joshua Bishop for the AIW Absolute and Intense Championships. Also appearing on Absolution, we got Matt Cardona relinquishing
and
the
Johnny
titles.
Gargano. Well, Johnny Gargano will be in attendance. He may not be on the show itself, but
boy, you got really excited. He's gonna be there. Yeah, I was gonna say like kind of like
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm trying to help hype the show.
I was going more for segments that we will see because I mean we got a graphic, so like there's going to be something.
I thought you were trying to do the Excalibur show rundown as quick as possible that he does at the end of Dynamite every week.
Follow the match on Picture in Picture. But yeah, so I think we'll that's another segment for Absolution. I'm curious of how that's going to go, or whether maybe Cardona, like he comes out at the beginning of the main event and relinquishes the titles that way.
Maybe he'll be the special guest referee. I don't know.
Maybe. Then the production joins the Broski Brigade.
No, please, no.
I mean, I'm going to repeat this again because I've fucking said it before. Because I should say not even just heard, I was in some conversations about Cardona right before this show. I think a lot of people think that like the quote Cardona fans are going to go away after this. No, I think there is a really bad illusion in people's head that they think like all these quote bad fans are there because of Cardona. Are they? Potentially, but I don't think it's like the diehard Cardona fans. I think what we're seeing is the people that were coming for Cardona are the same people that are going to come for any other big name that is mentioned. Because at, the Danhausen show last year, I heard some shit behind me that most people would be like, oh, that's a Cardona fan. But yeah, Cardona wasn't on that show. So either Cardona fans are showing up to other shows, or my theory is that there's just a type of fan that shows up when Cardona's there. And they're going to show up when other people are there too. Like those fans are not going to necessarily go away unless it's a bad show. And AIW keeps bringing in names. Like, you think the Cardona fans, quote unquote, aren't showing up for Gargano? The quote Cardona fans would have showed up if they knew Britt Baker was going to be there. Well, Cardona was there too. Hell on earth, there's going to be a big guest. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying like it's a scoop, but just there's normally something big for Hell on Earth. Let's just say the big guest for that show is, it won't be him. I'm just throwing somebody out. Orange Cassidy. Those fucking fans are showing up for Orange Cassidy. Or if it was Wardlow or MJF, it's people who weren't coming before because they didn't know who these people were, but now because of AEW or just people going to WWE and leaving and showing up at independent shows, they're like, oh, I can go here to meet them. So yeah, I'm a firm believer like this isn't necessarily going anywhere, because the problem isn't Cardona's fans. It's just the type of fans that he attracts, but also other people will attract too.
Yeah, I had to explain to somebody on Facebook that they did not need another ticket to.
I seen that.
Meet Johnny Gargano, and it's just because one person randomly said, "Oh, maybe you need this," and it's like, so then the guy was convinced that was the case. It's like, holy shit, it's not that confusing, buddy. Like, they didn't mention it, so obviously that's not the fucking case. Like, holy shit.
Like, you don't need another ticket to meet him, but you need to pay for the meet and greet type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to go through a different service to do that. Like, that's going to be like a day of the show type thing, like when you're there. Yeah, I seen that because when that ad pops up on my feed, I'll look at the comments and just see what people are saying. A lot of, people tagging, and then I happen to see like that one, and you were like, yeah, like, no, that's not what it is. But it says that it's the meet and greets before doors open. How does that work? Well, they're going to like have a thing where people can come in and just do the meet and greet early, and like you go back out in line. So like technically the doors aren't open.
Right. Just common sense stuff, guys. Like I know some of these people may never have been to an indie show. That's fine. It's not an indie show common sense thing. It's just a common sense of read the words, like make sense of the words. Like it's obviously they have something planned if it starts a half hour before the show and the doors open at a certain time, or it starts at a half hour before the doors open. There's obviously something in place to where you'll get the meet and greet, but you won't be in where the ring is or something. Like, calm down. Like, holy shit.
I wonder if for the Gargano meet and greet, they're just going to open up that back part again, like for Rubber City Con.
I wasn't there for Rubber City Con, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, imagine you are about to walk into Tadmor. You walk through those sets of doors.
Mm-hmm.
You walk forward towards the main part of the building, and then how you would turn left to go down that hall for the restroom. Before you turn right at the dead end, there's another room past that wall that they have kind of not necessarily boarded up, but they have it to where there's nothing in there right now. But for Rubber City Con, that was opened up and there was like a few meet and greets there. Because that's the way I can think of. They can do a meet and greet early, unless it's like we can try to get you in early. Because now with us being on, or AIW being on IWTV, we don't have that same benefit from Hey Yo to when there was this giant line for Scott Hall, rest in peace. But they were able to go through that giant line. This is going to be a little bit trickier, and this isn't like a normal guy coming back to AIW. This is a guy who was in WWE for a while, so that's a lot more people going, oh shit, Johnny Gargano. Oh, he's in Akron. Fuck, I need to go to that. So yeah, definitely they'll be trying to get people in and out. So
yeah, they'll have something figured out. It'll be fine.
All right, that's the show. Any final thoughts or last minute plugs before we go?
Yeah, check out If You Catch My Grift, an IWTV guide. It's 2 other podcasts that I produce /host. We are selling a t-shirt with all all proceeds going to abortion care. And you can get that at ifyoucatchmygrift.bigcartel.com. It's a awesome black shirt with a match on the front right pocket area, and then on the back it's a art picture of the Supreme Court on fire. So do us all a favor, go get that shirt. It's awesome. Supporting a good cause for it. And you can check me out on Twitter at Charly_Butters, where I will be posting about that shirt a bunch and other things. So yeah, that's it.
And of course, you can find myself at jsummers330 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, much like you can find the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com. Like I said earlier in the show, please rate, review, and subscribe your ever listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Check out our podcast friends such as Pod Van Dam, super fantastic podcast. It's Evolution, baby. The IndieCast, Sobros Network, Biff Radio, GameWorks Podcast, Powerbomb Jitsu, the Spotlight Series, Fully Posable, Positively Pro Wrestling, IWTV Guide, If You Catch My Grift, At Odds with Wrestling, Marks with Mikes, X Over Podcast, This Ends at Prom, and Porch Talk. Check out our other non-podcasting friends such as Thrift Store Jobber, The Savage Dash, The Mystery Men, Redline Radio, Mouse's Wrestling Adventures, VHS Party Tonight on Instagram, Heart of Gold, Toy Ohio Toy Show, Time Capsule Toys, Stay Tough, Smokin' Jay's Barbecue, and remember you can use promo code CHEERS for a discount on your order. JCP Designs, Midwest Territory, Southern Underground Pro, and the official graphic designer of Wrestling Cheers, Moy Boy Designs. That will do it for us here on Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, and it's on to Absolution, baby. Later.
It's the Wrestling Cheers. Get up on your feet, brightening your day in the middle of the week. And you gotta love the show. Yeah, you know it holds a title for the best podcast. Talking wrestling in Ohio. Finishing a cold one, take a load off. We ain't all about the prohibition like Josh, so we cheers and then we sit back. Other shows are in the trash, kinda like they Nick Stapp. Like the name is Matt Justice, wearing all the gold. Wrestling Cheers is coming to a close. The #1 podcast going in the game. And one day everybody's gonna know the name. It's the Wrestling Cheers. This is Platinum Max, signing off. Ohio, good night. The world, good night. We love you. We'll see you next week.